please approve that recording and then we'll get rolling. And everybody can see. Okay, so I'm doing some dual things. Yes, this is the story of September 7th of 2019 when I came up with 3 unbelievable ideas that have really changed the course of my career. And would you believe I had to write them down? Yes, I did. Some of them are so good. But I was delivering my first and second device ever in California. So one was going to Duncan McCullum in Santa Cruz. Thank you, Duncan. He's number 403. And the next one, which was 404, number, like if you guys know on your serial number, the last 3 numbers are literally how many, which number in sequence is your device. And there's only like 930 in the world. 600 of them are here in the States. So just a good thing to know, like make sure you know your number. And you know, we always make a big deal about it when we do our training days. But so yeah, I'm sitting on the beach after the training, and you know, I was somewhat bumming a little bit because at the time there were literally 17 different Softwave distributors around the country. And it was like, I remember we were all competitors. We would circle the wagons and shoot in, and everybody was just trying to kind of make a sale. And one of the things I had realized in working with neuropathy for 11 years, and this kind of talks about what happened with neuropathy. And I was a hardworking guy when it came to, I would do lunch and learns all around Atlanta, sometimes 2 a week, sometimes 3 a week. And I would generate 85 to 90 new patients a month. But each of those talks, I mean, you had mailers to invite people, you had to rent out a restaurant, you know, they could cost $2,800 to $3,700, depending on how many people showed up and how many mailers. So it was expensive, and I was chasing them, right? And one of the things I realized is of all these 17 other distributors, no one was a doctor. Like, I was a doctor of chiropractic. No one really understood the body as well as I did, right, as a chiropractor. And I realized that I wanted to take advantage of it. And I'd been to Dr. Isaac Jones's seminar, how to create a virtual office. And I was like, you know what, I'm a chiropractor. I'm not going to create a virtual office, but I took some of his key elements from building funnels and really sitting in your own house and having people come to you through the internet to ask questions and find out more. So I was like, I realized, and this turned out to be pretty much a $38 million idea. I said, what if I just like created, became the expert in this emerging shockwave field, right? There were some guys around the world, one Carlos Leon in Colombia, Dr. Wolfgang Schaden, who's you know, really the godfather of all this research, and he was the head of the Austrian workers' comp system. Like, he was the man, right? But there wasn't anybody really in North America, and I was consuming the research and really understood this well. And I realized that sitting on that beach on that afternoon, that no one could compare to me. I needed to go into a league of my own when it came to understanding this. And I want you guys all to think about when you started tapping into Softwave and what you felt like when you started to realize that this was at your fingertips, that this technology literally existed and we didn't know about it, right? So like, how you felt about that, and could this be as good as everybody says it is? You know, that's the big thing that I hear from doctors. They say, Duro, if this is as good as you say it is, why isn't it everywhere? Well, that's the mission we're on. And that's what we're teaching to other doctors. Like this may be the most versatile device in the last 25 years. So, you know, number one is I realized, hey, I need to stand out, right? I need to be the expert. It's the self-proclaimed expert. Like, so I had to kind of create that for myself. And this is 3 years ago. And I'm going to teach you guys as well over the next 3 weeks how you can do it in your area and what we need to do to excel in that. And we have some really great new marketing options. So number one was that, and that was really the big one. Number two was I realized I needed to patent. My wife there on the left, Sherry, many of you guys may or may not know, but she's a 7-year cancer survivor. And we're very grateful. Every day is a blessing. But after her second chemo treatment, she developed peripheral neuropathy so bad that she nearly had to stop her cancer treatment. It's the number one reason why people have to fall out of their treatment. And I realized that it was important for me to figure out some of her issues. So one of the things, like what we had done over the 2 years prior, was we had combined these polychromatic lights with Softwave, and I patented that technology to work with diabetic, chemo-induced, and peripheral neuropathy. And that patent, we're very close. We have an interview in May, and it's always every 3 months, it's something else with a patent. And we started this in June of 2018. So you can tell it's almost 4 years now. But so that was one of the other things. I knew I had to patent the way we got her better. She was 90% better and had lost probably 35, 40% of function. She couldn't use her thumb and index. So I knew at that time on this beach, I realized that I had to patent this technology for other diabetics and chemo-induced patients. And the third was I had to step out of my clinic, right? If I was going to go 100% all in with Softwave and make this dream a reality, I had to figure out a way to do I sell my clinic? What do I do? So what I decided to do is I started the process to create an employee shared ownership program for my clinic in Atlanta. And this has allowed me to free up my time and focus 100% on Softwave. I literally work 2 Saturdays a month, and I have an unbelievable team that helps me. And you know, we've done this 600 times across the country now. We've placed this technology. So this is reproducible, it's scalable, and it creates financial freedom for doctors to do what they want, like hire an associate, move up in space, get a new building, buy a vacation rental on the beach, whatever it is your dream is, we're going to help you kind of figure that out. So for me, to recap, the top 3 things was, number one, I realized I had to stand out from those other 17 distributors. And I literally was the only one with a doctorate, so why not use my education? And so that's kind of what I created. I started creating content every other day with basically videos in my clinic of patients getting better. And that wow factor that we all love is all about, it's turning off that inflammatory process. So number 2 was putting together that patented technology, like using the polychromatic lights with Softwave to treat a very debilitating condition. And you know, they say the the necessity is the mother of invention, and that is really true in this case. It was my daughter's mom. And so again, these are important concepts that I want you to know. We'd be remiss to not talk about April 12th, 1976, 46 years ago. Who remembers Ron Wayne? He was like the 3rd Beatle of Apple. This is a wild story. He was a little older than Wozniak and Steve Jobs. So he had like a house, he had kids, and he was so stressed out about the way they were spending money with this ramp up that he literally like a couple of months after being a shareholder in Apple, he decided he wanted out. And literally Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs bought him out for $1,500. Apple, I believe, is the most valuable company on the planet right now. His 10% would be worth $200 billion. Think about that. On this anniversary of 46 years ago, like, you know, people who don't have an idea without follow through is wasted. And in this case, there were certain fear factors that limited Ron from going forward. And apparently he was somewhat successful even after, but obviously never came close to what he could have. So, you know, on this anniversary, we should pay homage to wonderful inventors and understand the trials and tribulation that go into it. Did you know WD-40 was the 40th attempt at creating a lubrication system which was anti-rust? So it's like, it doesn't happen overnight. I think Thomas Edison might have gone through 10,000 different light bulbs before he found the right one. So persistence is key, and like, never stop chasing your dream. Obviously, you guys know who I am. This device helps you heal faster, reduce pain, improve blood supply, decreases inflammation. That's really our billion-dollar beautiful silver bullet here, is that we can modulate inflammation, which is the silent killer in a lot of disease process, and I believe the main culprit of pain. Why? Because when we place our device on people with pain, it goes away. Now, it's not one visit doesn't fix everything, but it starts that healing process. So yeah, who made me the king, right? Well, I had to go and get it. I had to go create it. And I did it organically. I did it through the right channels. And, you know, I am the guy that I'm the developer. I'm not the founder. John Warlick, who's a hero of mine, is the founder, and Mark Gronowski. I had developed the protocol less is more. And remember, this is intelligent, powerful energy. And you want to microdose this in ways to see how the body reacts to it. A lot of you guys and girls, women, are chiropractors on this tonight. And yes, I swiped a lot of great stuff from chiropractic philosophy. You're right. But I'll show you that success attracts more success and brings more successful people into your life. This is something that's important. You know, I want you to understand something. I make a promise to you, like, there is, I call it SOS, speed of service. Like, the one thing that happens is, like, when you purchase this, we're just not leaving you like, oh, good luck. Ah, you bought it. No, you know, we've placed this in close to 600 clinics across the country, and only 6 of them who have failed in this. So there's a 99% success rate, or stick rate, as they say. And, you know, 3 out of those 6 people had, you know, some bad luck that occurred, and they just couldn't handle it. 3 of them were just, you know, it was 5 inches between their ears. They couldn't charge more than $50, and they couldn't make ends meet. And I am not going to sell something to a group or a clinic who is not going to profit and do very well with this. I won't. So I make a personal guarantee to a lot of these doctors, like, hey, I got 65, 70 people on a waiting list. If you don't do well with this, we can sell your device in 2 hours and replace it in 2 weeks. I think it's important to understand the emerging trends out there. 2 years ago, I'm not sure if my buddy Dan Wallace is on the call, but about 1.5 years ago, you know, I'm in a mastermind group with Dan Wallace, and he's a wonderful guy, very well respected. And he's like, he goes, you know, he's on the fence. He was thinking about buying my device about 18 months ago. And he goes, you know what? I'm going all in with neuropathy. And I looked at him, I said, neuropathy? dude, I've done that for 11 years. Neuropathy is dead. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm like, well, let me tell you why. And I went through to explain to him that the average cost of acquiring a neuropathy patient is about $290 to $300. That's just for them to walk into your clinic. Now, the average age of those neuropathy patients are 71 years old. They're very skeptical. And they've been to doctor after doctor, and the doctors tell them there's nothing that can be done. Your nerves are dead, all these different things. So when you present at $7,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 plan, like a lot of these consultants are telling you to do, they run for the hills. Like, I have created a most efficient and effective way to treat diabetic chemo and peripheral neuropathy. And there's no cure for it. Understand that. But we have the tools to manage this chronic condition. And I want you to understand another thing. There's only 9% of the population has neuropathy in some form. So of the 330 million, that means there's about 30 million people that have this condition. So again, marketing gets expensive when you're going for 10% of the population. Same thing with chiropractic, right? I mean, the coolest thing about this, hopefully this is the right slide. Yes. And the coolest thing about this is that you're seeking 100% of your community that's living in pain and discomfort. Like, I don't care how long you've been a chiropractor. I've got Gary Harcourt, has been a chiropractor 40 plus years on this call. I've been 28 years. Tina, I think, has been over 20 years. You guys have been in the trenches for a while, and no matter what, only 11% of the population will utilize chiropractic. They will even think about it, going to see you. Can you believe that? Possibly one of the greatest healthcare professions on the earth, and only 10% of the population will even seek it. Again, 10%, 11%, that's 36 million people out of 330 that will even consider coming into you. You guys understand this? So do you want to fish in a small pond or a blue ocean? And with Softwave, you create uncontested market space. Like, there's nobody, you become that person in your community that, you know how you get on the list of the top doctors in your area? You get one of our devices, because the next thing you do is you're taking care of all these other doctors' failures. And we have literally a 65% success rate with other doctors' failures. You make the competition irrelevant. I want you to think about that. I mean, you're in a league of your own. Again, this demand, like, the more that the consumer learns about this technology, the more they want to experience it. And there's some of you that like, oh, do we call it stem wave? Do we call it soft wave? Do we call it shock wave? One thing I can tell you, do not call it shock wave. If you want to see a mad Italian on Softwave University, let me hear you refer to this as shock wave. I even have people in our executive team that still refers to this as shock wave. And I'm like, boo, I get upset. So this is an important concept. This will help you move into that. The other thing that's amazing is that the general pain patient or musculoskeletal type patient, you can get right now for $12.50 to $25. So the average cost is about $16 to acquire a general pain patient. So let's figure this out. I'm bringing my calculator out. I can get, if it costs me $300 to acquire one neuropathy patient, and they're only saying yes about 25% of the time. If I divide that by 16, I can get almost 19 more people in my seats. Cheeks in the seats is what it's about. Got it? So I got 19 people, and of those 19 people, I have a average conversion rate is 66%. So out of those 16 or 17 people, I'm going to get 12 or 13 of them to start care. You see where the numbers come in? See how this works? And so you're doubling your patient case acceptance. You've never seen anything like this. I haven't in 28 years. I can have doctors come on and also talk about this, but this is the most, I'd say, highly accepted thing I've ever offered to patients. You have to understand the trends in healthcare and how to position yourself for success, right? I made bold predictions 3 years ago that there was going to be two types of doctors and chiropractors out there: those who had this technology and those who didn't. And the ones who didn't, they were going to become a flip phone from like 2008. Now, those were really cool, right? I talk about it all the time. I still have a couple around here just to remind myself. But you want to be understanding technology and understanding the trends in technology. Okay, so here's the most beautiful thing. And this is, I don't even have it in the right spot. This is Everett Rogers' diffusion of innovation model. And as you can see, every new technology will go through this, okay? And we're not even right there. We're actually at 0.5%. So I was wrong when I did all the math. We're only 0.5%. So we still have 2% more of innovators to jump on. Everyone on this call is still considered an innovator, which is cool. Jeff Bezos, one of my favorite lines, never ever lean away from the future. And people will fight it. Again, we're just at the beginning of this cycle. But once you hit that 2.5% of innovators, and we've got some early adopters that are sitting on the sideline waiting to see how we do. Why is it so important for us to create that 90-day challenge? Because 55% of the doctors who come on with that 90-day challenge are able to pay off their device in 90 days or less. That's cute. Like, everything after that is pure gravy. This becomes a cash printing machine. I have one doc, he's probably the second guy in Colorado. Like, every Saturday, he sends me a picture of him with a pile of cash in front of him, and I'm counting it. And I'm like, dude, you need to buy one of those Pablo Escobar money counters. Pam Stuckey, LaGuardia is on. She's first in Wisconsin. Her dad, Joe Stuckey, who was a real chiropractic warrior, he had a saying: you never want to be the second clinic in your town with new technology. And that's something that we have over the last year really embraced and believe in. So again, once you get the 2.5% of the early innovators and the early adopters, now you're at that 16% or 17% tipping point. Let me explain something to you. It took me 13 months and 110 doctors to say no to me. 13 months to make my first sale. The first sale took 90 days. The second year, I started figuring things out. I sold one a quarter, and about for the first 3 quarters of 2019. And then I got connected with Dr. Dan Pompa. Now, it's important to have influencers in your repertoire, right? And it took me 2 years to get into Dan Pompa's inner circle. And there's a whole story about that afterwards. But it was, again, it's persistence. It's never giving up, being ready when you're there. Sometimes it's a back door to get in. You got to understand that. But it was Dan Pompa who I got to treat his son, who took a terrible fall from 60 feet, fractured 2 vertebrae, to both ankles, his wrist, and 2 ribs. 75 to 80% of the time, you're paralyzed from the type of fall he took. I think it's episode 12 of my Free My Pain Now podcast. But that was it. Took one guy to believe in me, and he had me speak in front of 42 of his platinum doctors. And those are the real pioneers. These are the guys who took a chance on me because I had this little alpha test that I kind of developed over 18 months in my clinic in Atlanta, and they believed in me and they took a chance. So we sold 17 in the last 4 months of 2019. It was the first time in 9 or 10 years that Softwave had been in the black. For 9 years, John Warlick spent his own money to keep this business alive, to keep this dream alive. So that's pretty cool. So again, you get that tipping point. So 2020, I think we were selling one a week. And so like 58 devices. And then in 2021, we were selling close to 24 to 25 a month. So almost every business day. And right now we're probably selling 30 per month. So it's coming. And think about it, over the next 2.5 years, we're going to add 900 more doctors. You want to position yourself as the leader, as the expert, because other people are going to be coming into your area within your 50-mile radius or whatever. And don't get scared. Like Bruce Salzinger is on this call. He's my neighbor. You know, he's probably the 25th person in Atlanta to buy one. I think we've got 37 or 38 in and around Metro Atlanta. Am I scared? No. We still do 125, 130 new patients per month. You know, if I wanted to hoard this information, I would have built a airstrip in my backyard and had people fly in and out. There is literally one person in this country who had more of innovators to jump on. Everyone on this call is still considered an innovator, which is cool. Jeff Bezos, one of my favorite lines, never ever lean away from the future. And people will fight it. Again, we're just at the beginning of this cycle. But once you hit that 2.5% of innovators, and we've got some early adopters that are sitting on the sideline waiting to see how we do. Why is it so important for us to create that 90-day challenge? Because 55% of the doctors who come on with that 90-day challenge are able to pay off their device in 90 days or less. That's cute. Like everything after that is pure gravy. This becomes a cash printing machine. I have one doc, he's probably the second guy in Colorado. Like every Saturday, he sends me a picture of him with a pile of cash in front of him, and I'm counting it. And I'm like, dude, you need to buy one of those Pablo Escobar money counters. Pam Stuckey, LaGuardia is on, she's first in Wisconsin. Her dad, Joe Stuckey, who was a real chiropractic warrior, he had a saying, you never want to be the second clinic in your town with new technology. And that's something that we have over the last year really embraced and believe in. So again, once you get the 2.5% of the early innovators and the early adopters, now you're at that 16% or 17% tipping point. Let me explain something to you. It took me 13 months and 110 doctors to say no to me. 13 months to make my first sale. The first sale took 90 days. The second year, I started figuring things out. I sold one a quarter. And about for the first 3 quarters of 2019. And then I got connected with Dr. Dan Pompa. Now, it's important to have influencers in your repertoire, right? And it took me 2 years to get into Dan Pompa's inner circle. And there's a whole story about that afterwards. But it was, again, it's persistence. It's never giving up, being ready when you're there. Sometimes it's a back door to get in. You got to understand that. But it was Dan Pompa who I got to treat his son who took a terrible fall from 60 feet, fractured 2 vertebrae, to both ankles, his wrist and 2 ribs. 75 to 80% of the time, you're paralyzed from the type of fall he took. I think it's episode 12 of my Free My Pain Now podcast. But that was it. Took one guy to believe in me, and he had me speak in front of 42 of his platinum doctors. And those are the real pioneers. These are the guys who took a chance on me because I had this little alpha test that I kind of developed over 18 months in my clinic in Atlanta, and they believed in me and they took a chance. So we sold 17 in the last 4 months of 2019. It was the first time in 9 or 10 years that Softwave had been in the black. For 9 years, John Warlick spent his own money to keep this business alive, to keep this dream alive. So that's pretty cool. So again, you get that tipping point. So 2020, I think we were selling one a week. And so like 58 devices. And then in 2021, we were selling close to 24 to 25 a month. So almost every business day. And right now we're probably selling 30 per month. So it's coming. And think about it, over the next 2.5 years, we're going to add 900 more doctors. You want to position yourself as the leader, as the expert, because other people are going to be coming into your area within your 50-mile radius or whatever. And don't get scared. Like Bruce Salzinger is on this call. He's my neighbor. You know, he's probably the 25th person in Atlanta to buy one. I think we've got 37 or 38 in and around Metro Atlanta. Am I scared? No. We still do 125, 130 new patients per month. You know, if I wanted to hoard this information, I would have built a airstrip in my backyard and had people fly in and out. There is literally one person in this country who literally changed the name of this and flies to 9 different cities every month, talking about that he's got the only one in the United States. That, my friend, is a scammer. That's bullshit. That is not the way you get by in life. You don't lie and you don't swindle people, right? It's just bullshit. So I apologize, but that upsets me. This is, again, powerful energy. I want it in the right hands of the people. And remember, this is from Damon Johns, people love to tell you what you can't do. No is something that entrepreneurs hear more than anything. No, no, no. 110 times I heard no. But again, the traits that kept me focused on, that I knew that I had something really good here, that John Warlick had something that and I believed in John's vision and I wanted to make it a reality. And let me just tell you, I missed an R here. I apologize, but that's what happens when you're a little dyslexic. You know, if you're successful in one business, you can actually transfer those same successful traits to other businesses. So yes, you deserve a side hustle. You deserve to have the life that you dreamed of. I have, like Dr. Kyle Bowers, he's on this line. Not only has he trained probably 20, 25 clinics in the last year, but he's also helped to sell 10 devices. He was able to take his family on a beautiful Caribbean cruise. I got so excited watching all his pictures because the man is living the dream. Right? What is true success measured by? How do you define success? You know, I remember when early in my career in chiropractic, it was like, oh my God, did I see 200 people this week? And, you know, it was like, I was depressed if I didn't hit my numbers and I didn't collect them. And I know what it's like to be a prisoner in your clinic and run to the mailbox and to see if the insurance checks came. I don't do that anymore. I don't have to. It's like, this is a cash service that generates 66% of all the income that comes into our clinic in Atlanta. And ladies and gentlemen, you are always welcome to fly into Atlanta, spend a couple days or a couple hours with us, tour the headquarters at Softwave, see how we take care of people. While you're waiting for that device, and right now it's down to 60 to 75 days, which is awesome. We were as high as 110, but this is about doing something good for people. And the fact that this model, this prototype is now in 600 clinics across the country, that makes my heart warm, because I know we're helping every day. If we just see 2 people per day, we're helping thousands of people a day. I couldn't do that on my own. You know, I need another 25 Kyle Bowers. Like, not everybody has stepped up to the plate to be on this mission. Some of you have invested in this technology and have it in your clinic, but you got to start thinking about who else do you want to have this technology. Dr. Tina, she's got 2 other friends and they're all looking to do this together. I mean, that's cool. It's about making the world a better place. And you've heard me say this line before. I might not get to heaven, but I can bring a little heaven to earth. And if we can end pain and suffering for millions of people, and that's what we're going to do this year, we're going to touch 1 million people with this technology. And it's thanks to you all. Okay, you know the secret to success, and this is like from the book that I always kind of reference, it's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And the problem is that there's these so-called experts out there that are telling you that, oh, you can make $7,000 to $10,000 on a neuropathy patient. And this is what you need to do. And you have to have this and this and this and this. Let me tell you something. After working with neuropathy patients for the last 11, 12 years, my mom was type 2 diabetic who was put on, a statin drug, a Lipitor, and she was taking half a dose of it. And within 10 days, she developed rhabdomyolysis and lost the ability to walk and move. Like she could move her arms, but she couldn't walk with her legs. And it would happen like that. And that really put my brother Joe and my brother Joe is the CEO and founder of Neuropathy Treatment Centers of America. And it's what put us on this course to work with neuropathy. And what I realized over 11, 12 years of working with neuropathy patients is their average age is 71 years old. They're mostly retired. They're your grandparents, you know, they're your neighbors. And they don't always have a lot of disposable income. And the younger people are out of work because the pain is so bad. So like these consultants are teaching you how to make them go and get a loan at the bank or sign up for credit care and all this shit. And they're charging them $7,000. And I can show you how to do that for 1/3 the price and really take care of more people. Because that's what it's about. I mean, would you like to have 82% of the people walking out of your office saying no? Or would you like 66% of the people saying yes and accepting care? Okay. So I know all of you on this line, for the last year, I get every week, I like, who has a good neuropathy protocol? Well, I do, but I'm literally waiting for the patent to come out. And secondly, they're too expensive. If they're existing in your clinic, then that's great. You didn't pay anything and I will help you co-manage them. But it's not just like, do this and this and this, and it's a silver bullet. No. In fact, we'll teach you how to look at the entire person and how to run lab tests. We have a naturopathic medical doctor on our staff. That's all she does is run lab work and look at the whole body. And she is available to do virtual consults with your patients, order the tests that you need. That's going to be something that we'll be offering in the future. So what's the secret to success? If someone pays you $1, you give them twice as much at least in return in service. Okay. And that's it. You over deliver. You don't overcharge. Does that make sense? What is your life? What are your goals in life, right? In reverse engineer it. How many new patients do you want to see? If each patient is worth $1,000 to you, right? Every new patient, and we do 125 new patients a month, you can do the math. We have $125,000 per month business. Now, not all of them pay up front, but you know, it's a way that comes through. So understand what it costs you to acquire, know your numbers, management by statistics. Don't just be like, oh, I want to get neuropathy because I heard everybody else is doing it. No, that bus is come and gone. We'll show you how to treat those patients, but we're not going to waste our money marketing when I can get 13 patients for general pain to every one neuropathy patient. Okay. You always hear me say this, be so good that it requires them to create a new name to describe what you're doing. You know, regenerative medicine was the hot thing from like 2013, 14 to 2020 till the pandemic hit. And again, this was driven because people wanted other options. But in the algorithm of health, care. You don't start with the most invasive, most expensive. That's ridiculous. Like, who thought of this? You start with the least expensive, less invasive, and you exhaust all of your alternative options before you go. But if the clinical research shows we're helping 65 to 91% of these people, that means we're failing with 9 to 35%. Once you fail with non-invasive course, then you can go to more invasive. Got it? And spend more money. Everybody nod that understands that. Good. Consistency is the key. We are not, like everybody on this call, you guys are the tortoise in this race. You hear me say this all the time. Kyle, you are definitely the tortoise. I will outrun you in a second too. But it's really about being in this for the long haul. And you're going to see one of my slides. How do you make a $200,000 idea a $2 million idea? You do it for 10 years straight, right? You guys are going to get tired of hearing me say the same thing because it's just general principles that are going to make you successful. Who here knows or heard of Edward Barnes? It's a great story. So Edward was, he was a pretty cool dude. He had this vision, you know, it was the early 1900s, and he had this vision that he was going to go into business and partner with Thomas Edison. And this was something he would tell his friends and family, like, I'm going to go into business with Thomas Edison. They're like, dude, you're crazy. First off, he didn't know Thomas Edison. He didn't have even money to get on a train to go to Orange, New Jersey, but he had this power of thought. And it was this unrelenting mindset. And he literally was a hobo, jumped on a train and ran and sat in the cargo and went like 16 hours to Orange, New Jersey. He got off the train station. He looked like a hobo. He was dirty. And he makes his way over to Thomas Edison's building. And he walks in and he presents himself and, you know, and he's like, I'm here to see Mr. Edison. So, you know, they let him in. They're like, what is going on here? And he goes, I came here to go into business with Thomas Edison, and I'll accomplish this if it takes me the remainder of my life. And Thomas Edison heard this guy and saw the conviction, and it wasn't the way he looked, but it was this way he acted, and the mindset he had, that Thomas Edison's like, you know what, I'll give you a job, but you're going to be a janitor cleaning up around this area. And months went by, several months went by before he started to get to spend a little more time with Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison brought him into a meeting when Thomas Edison is just completing the Edison dictation machine. Now, you guys know that was like the first way to record your ideas and your messages. And all of the existing salespeople on Thomas Edison's team was like, no, this will never work. The only two people who thought it was going to be good were Thomas Edison and Edwin Barnes. So Edwin worked out a deal that he got national rights to sell this device throughout the North America. Can you believe this guy? He went on to make millions of dollars and became so wealthy that he literally had a different suit for every day of the week. And I guess that was a way to show your wealth back then. But, you know, he said he had this label that said, made by Edison, installed by Barnes. And he created a wonderful distribution network. And as you know, it became one of the greatest American inventions in the 19th century. Okay. You know, it's funny. I would not be here today if it wasn't for John Warlick giving me a chance. You know, I am the Edward Barnes of this story. I am the guy that he took a chance on that nobody else thought would work. And my career and reputation as a doctor has been greatly enhanced by my relationship with John Warlick and Softwave. And yours will be too. I promise you that. That is our unrelenting commitment. And you know, and John will be the first to tell you the story. When I wanted North American distribution to all chiropractors, he laughed. He's like, oh, chiropractors are too cheap. They'll never buy this. But I realized from my own experience that I had searched for 11 years for something that could help me. And I knew if this helped me, that it could help thousands of other people. And, you know, I love this quote from Abraham Lincoln: the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I didn't let anybody tell me that no. And even those 110 doctors who said no 3.5 years ago, they're now coming back around and they're saying yes. And I've had 5 of those doctors buy, and they all say the same thing. God, I wish I bought this sooner. Dustin Barton's one of those guys. And he's one of the most successful doctors in North America with this. So, you know, right now you're probably sitting on some great ideas. Maybe it's a marketing, maybe it's something, you know, that you're going to have to get in front of the camera and explain it, or whatever it is. Take that leap and start doing it, right? Become the expert in your neck of the woods. And you know, we're empowering you to do that by the way the research that we put out there and understanding this. You want to really become an expert? Be in Prague in September 7th through 9th for the 22nd International Medical Shockwave Symposium. And you're going to be around 180 and 200 other doctors from all over the world that are using this. And it was at one of those conferences 5 years ago that I said, I tapped on this neurologist and I said, hey, I work with diabetics. Do you think this will help my diabetic neuropathy people? And the guy turned to me and goes, well, we have a patent for peripheral neuropathy. Yes, it should. And I'm like, you're right. You know, so it's time to take action. And that's the message tonight. So you all know that the real source, the bloodline of your clinic, is getting new patients. And, you know, we've had some little upheaval in the last couple of weeks, man. We lost a digital marketing agency that went rogue. And it's a sad party, but I will tell you that our philosophies did not match. When all we want to do is drive more people into our doctor's offices and make it more affordable for you to have more what we call cheeks in the seats. And we don't want you to pay an arm and a leg for that. But I will tell you, we've been searching for the last year and a half, and we found probably 4 or 5 different wonderful groups that we're looking at. But one in particular is going to be able to do this for under $400. So the people who are waiting to get their device, we can start optimizing your Google search and your clinic for under $400 per month. And this is going to be such a disruptor in the digital marketing field. And for once, you know, who should have the power here? Like, we have 575 doctors now. We should create our own marketing co-op. That's what I've been saying. Why should one group profit on all of our doctors of this great community that we built and put together? Do you agree? Like, we're sick and tired of paying $1,500 a month for, a digital marketing campaign. And then they only spend $500 on your ad campaign. Like, come on. So when these other groups come to me and say, hey, I think I can save your doctors more money, I'm all ears. Like, here, listen, what do you have to say? So we are going to be beta testing this, and we're looking for 10, 15, maybe tops 20 doctors. And I'm glad you came on this line tonight, because of these doctors that are going to beta test it, we're going to give you guys first right. Okay. So you can either text me or private message me on Facebook, and I will send you a link to start the process. Okay. To me, this is going to be this has got the potential to be unbelievable. Again, can you handle an extra 23 new patients per month? What's a new patient worth in our system? It's about $1,200. So 23 new patients times 1180 equals $27,000 per month. That's what that's what clinics across the country are doing when they combine with marketing. Wouldn't it be great to keep an extra $3,000 of that and not spend it on to send it to Google or Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg, who's already rich? He's wealthy. He's not rich. He's wealthy. Again, how do you make a $200,000 idea a $2 million one? You do it for 10 years. How do you turn it into a $4 million plan? You do it for 20 years. Some of our younger docs are able to do this. So yeah, you better get people are blowing up my phone already. Like, I want it. Get in line. Even if you haven't ordered your device, you're eligible to start this process to, how do we call it? We're priming your geo area. We're geo-targeting people. We know now who wants this technology, and we can create almost like a lookalike audience and find those people in a certain radius. It's really going to be groundbreaking. Sorry, Bruce, you can't do it. Bruce Selzinger, no, sorry. I think that's it. I want to see, you guys know the rest here, and I'm going to stop sharing, and I want you guys to unmute and ask some questions, and we've got a few extra minutes here. Jamie, you're in. You are in, Jamie. Jamie Tungate sent me tons of people. So unmute yourself, ask a question. Let me just check the chatter here.
I got a question.
Yes, Dr. Tungate, how are you, my friend from?
Great. I'm actually started my search for another doctor because I can't handle everyone right now.
This man right here, Jamie Tungate, he's got people driving 2 hours before he even got the device. He's an amazing chiropractor, one of the best adjustments I've ever had. If you're ever just 10 minutes from the Phoenix airport, you go see him. He's into a new space since he got the device. He now can't handle all the work. And Jamie, I hear that. That's one of that makes my heart warm, because you're able to kind of live your dream. You're a wonderful chiropractor, but now you're going to be working on your business, not in it every day. So that's great news. Plus, he's referring other doctors that he went to school with or friends that he met at seminars, because he knows this technology is too good to be kept a secret. So thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
And you're a remarkable doctor. Keep up the great work. Any other
It's amazing.
questions? Are you ready to go? Are you going to be one of our beta tests? Phoenix?
Absolutely.
All right, good. Larry Holt.
Hi.
Dr. Holt, my man in Las Vegas.
How's it going?
Good.
Hey, I have a question. You know, when you came for the training, we set the machine at 2.5 hertz with the frequency of 10 at most people. Sometimes
9 or 10. Yeah, energy level 9, 10.
Sometimes I'll turn it down if it's like an elbow or wrist or something.
Turn it down to what? Energy level
like
or
6 maybe? 2.5 to 6.
Well,
but
again, 2.5 is the hertz or frequency, so that doesn't really change unless you're around the ear, the TMJ, the jaw, the sinuses, you're doing Alzheimer's stuff, or you're doing the occiput or neck. I go to 1.5 or 2. I think Gary Harcourt, I showed a picture of me working on my Great Dane's ear that wasn't healing 2 years ago. 2 sessions, I had it at 2.0 hertz. I did 200 shockwaves 2 different days, 4 days apart, and it was healed.
Because the reason is I have a friend who, as soon as I heard about this, I had talked to him, and he got his system. He's in England, and he got his, but the guy told him to put it at 4 hertz. And I'm wondering,
you know what? You want to listen to the German engineers
faster?
Listen, you want to listen to the German. Hey, quiet. Here's my Great Dane. Stop. Here's the deal. Quiet. You want to listen to German engineers and physicists right? Or do you want to learn from a clinician who's been in the trench and has done more shockwaves than any other clinician in North America? What I realized, yeah, okay. So what I realized is at 4.0, it goes, do you know how fast you burn through 100,000 shockwaves? Faster than you do at bop, 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 bop. You got it?
Right. Okay.
So don't listen to him and tell him, save that guy some money and tell him to go to 2.5 hertz. My interview with Erwin Goldstein, Dr. Goldstein, the professor from University of California, San Francisco, or San Diego, he specifically felt that for men's and women's sexual health, 2.0 is the perfect number, the perfect frequency. 2.5 happens to be what I say is the perfect frequency for general pain and musculoskeletal. Trust me on this, don't waver. Everybody wants to tweak it a little bit and call it their own, fine. Don't change the 2.5.
Okay, so the difference is when you put the, is how much force it comes out, like how much deeper it is, not the 2.5.
No,
the frequency.
I'm gonna mute you, Larry. Listen, it's the energy is how deep you go. So at an energy level 16, you're the depth of a water can, okay? So it's energy level. At energy 8, 9, 10, you're at like a tuna fish can. Remember that. The other thing important for a lot of you new docs coming on, Thomas Callie, I can't wait to get your device, brother. The other thing to understand is, gosh, I lost my idea. Like I forgot what I was about to say. Energy 8.9. The treatment areas are obviously the treatment times are about 400 to 600 soft waves for that introductory, right? And the cool thing is, within 10 minutes, if this patient's a candidate, right? Because if you scan through their chief complaint, you can't find any hotspots. I'm sorry, I don't offer them care plans. They can pay per session, but I'm like, I'm not really sure how you're going to do. All right, I'm going to answer, let some other people ask some questions. So frequency is the hertz. That's how fast it's coming. Energy level is how deep it goes. Get those two things straight. Laura Gilbert, how is the weather up there in Anchorage? Talk to me. How do you like the device so far?
It's actually really cool. We are having some really good success with it, and we've done some Alzheimer's patients, and we are getting ready to do men's and women's sexual health.
So Laura works with Dr. Sandra Denton, a medical doctor up in Anchorage, who's very holistic. Laura was good enough to bring this technology to her. They worked together side by side. Laura, thank you.
Yes.
You still look cool and as could be and up in the middle of Alaska. So God bless you. Any other questions? Tina, what's your thoughts right now? Just as an outsider, tell me, like, is this a cult?
No, I wouldn't say so. I'm still in information gathering mode. I get to go have it done this weekend, so I'm excited for that. I want to experience it for myself.
Yeah, you asked the best questions. So if there's any questions that have popped up during this evening, I'm sure there's 4 or 5 other people thinking the same thing. Is there anything that you wanted to mention tonight?
No, let me think about that for a minute.
Okay. My oldest daughter, Isabella, she's like, I'm not into cults unless that leader has that wow factor. Okay, that's what she says. Isabella, big shout out to her. Any other questions? Dr. Ma, if you would be so kind, I know you're, this is an amazing doctor in, he's in New York City. I don't know if he can come on and chat, but this guy has, physical therapy type of clinic, a lot of workers' comp in New York City. He had, $40,000 lasers, a couple different type of radial devices. And he just, he took the plunge. He believed in me, and I'd love to interview him one day. But if you're available to chat, Doc, I'd love you to unmute, but you might not be in a place you can. Okay, he can't. Let me see anyone else. Richard Glenn is getting a device. Oh, yes, sir. Come up.
Doc, you hear me?
Yeah, Tommy.
What's up, man?
How are you, buddy?
Doing well. Question. How have you all adjusted to the influx of patients that are coming to see you that are not chiropractically inclined nor interested? Do you feel like you're juggling more of a allopathic medical capacity? Do you feel like you got to transition them? Do you feel like we're just playing two different sides here? And I'm okay with that, truly. I don't even want to bombard them with what I know chiropractically, you know?
I'll tell you another secret to success is that I do not bait and switch people. Like with my advertising for Softwave, they're coming in for Softwave. They do not get a chiropractic 45-minute exam and x-rays first and have to pay $500. That is a no-no, okay? So what will happen is this, and you'll see it, and I've seen it over 5 years. So I'm going to explain to you what I've found is that patient who came in for Softwave with general pain is going to be so wowed and so blown away 75 to 90% of the time that they can't believe that they found a doctor to fix their problem. So the next thing, the second day or third day, they're going to say, what else do I need to do? You know? And that typically is what happens. Jamie's had nodding his head. I'll let Jamie talk because he's had it for over a year. Jamie, but I have probably 95% of my people start chiropractic after. Jamie, what's your take?
Yeah, actually, I've had like 3 or 4 people that came in for knee pain, didn't find any hot spots after the Softwave treatment. They didn't have any benefit. So I said, well, you need an adjustment then, and adjusted their knee, boom, pain gone, you know, like lifetime customers because they know that I did what they needed for care. Also, like had people coming in for Softwave, they're getting better, and they're like, well, I also have this problem. What can I do for that? And then that's when you talk about chiropractic. I don't force people to do chiropractic right away.
That's perfect. And again, like let people understand on their own terms, right? Most of chiropractors have been adjusted 1,000 times, right? It took you this many visits to get to the point where you're at and how you perceive things. And I honestly believe that even the doctors, medical doctors out there, osteopaths, listen, even urologists, Dr. Irwin Goldstein, he realized that there was so much more to this device that he hired a physical therapist that he could have in his office that could treat anywhere other than, you know, the genitals. So I believe that this device paired with chiropractic for the ability to locate where joint dysfunction, mechanical stress, subluxations, whatever you want to call it. But when you can remove those subluxations, those tension spots in the spine or appendices, and then you place this on it. I mean, it's not 1 + 1. It's 5 times 5. It multiplies the effects of both of what we do, you know, of both of our services. Dr. Misty Paul, it's so nice to have you on. Gosh, I can remember the call several months ago when you got on, and tell me where you're at now. What do you think? I consider you somewhat of an expert now.
Wow, well, I'm thrilled to hear that, and I owe it all really to Dr. Whelan and Mackenzie. So I want to thank them, and of course you. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. We've actually had quite a huge range of successes. But I'll tell you a story that happened yesterday, and I'm unsure of how to follow up. A guy in his 40s comes in, mechanical low back pain. Around the left PSIS region. It seems like a no-brainer. He's had chiropractic care with me for about 3 or 4 sessions, and he's really not seeing the improvement. I said, hey, let's try a discovery session. So I did 500 shock waves at level 11, and he got up off the table and he said, yeah, you know what? I think I feel a little bit better. So as always, whenever I do a discovery session the next day, I check in with the patient to see how they're doing. He's scheduled for Friday, and he texts me back and he says, I am so sore. I feel like I'm just so much worse than I was before. I don't think I should continue. So I texted him back and I said, this is normal. This is normal. We've created an acute inflammatory response. I gave him the sheet that told him that, you know, this is what was to be expected. Should I, where do you all
Let me
here?
fix one thing.
Okay.
And I've got, listen, by the way, we have some unbelievable doctors on this line, in our repertoire. One guy I always mention is Steve Gumpenberger out of Liberty, Missouri. He's just the most humble guy. He's got one of the best 2-minute reported findings that I've ever heard. And, you know, this is what's beautiful about this community is, like, I took us to this far. Eileen Whalen took us this far. Kyle Bowers took us this far. Derek Barton, Bruce Selzinger, Misty Paul, like, you know, rising tides raise all ships. And that's what it's about here. This is bigger than any single one of us. Take no credit, take no blame. You can get a big head watching these miracles happen in your office. Remember that. You're doing it for the right work, to give, to love, to serve back to your community. So you did almost everything right, but the one thing you screwed up, and I'm going to call you on it, is take no credit, take no blame. Number one, this device turned off inflammation for anywhere from 15 to 20 hours. When was the first visit? When was the follow-up? Tell me that.
His first visit was
it like a Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Thursday? Let me hear.
Monday. Yesterday was his adjustment and discovery session, and previous week was a Thursday chiropractic.
So, okay, so he started his first Softwave on Monday.
Yes.
Called yesterday. You today and said, I'm never coming back. I'm in more pain than ever.
No, he didn't quite say I'm never coming back. I can tell by his text that he's scared, right?
Yeah. So this is how I handle that. And again, you didn't trigger an inflammatory response. What we did with this device is you turned off the inflammatory process for 15 to 20 hours. Now, what happens afterwards is that the body is like, I'm so used to having this inflammation. Hey, we need more inflammation here. Hey, it turned off. Turn on so all of a sudden their body's turning on the inflammation. You get this tidal wave of inflammation coming, and it hits their body. And it feels like they've been hit by a tidal wave. And they're like, oh my God, I'm worse. Hey, that's a good thing. What do you mean a good thing? I'm calling my lawyer. No, what's going to happen is, what you need to do is you need to come in here today, because we thought you could make it till Wednesday, but obviously you're in worse shape than we thought. I always put it back on them. Did you get any relief when you left my office? Oh yeah, I mean, I got 8-10 hours of good sleep, and then I woke up and it hit me like a can of bricks or whatever. You know, that's kind of what I thought. Inflammation came back a little quicker. You got to get in here.
Okay.
11 is probably too high.
Okay. And you know, do you so I had posted last week that I'm at 30% on this applicator. I'm at about 21% right now, and I feel like we're having to go a little bit harder. So so this was his first session, but I took it up to where he was feeling it a little moderate amount. Still too high.
I understand you. Like, sometimes at the end of the life of that spark plug, right, at that probe is starting to lose some power. So I can see where you turn it up 13, 14. I understand. Yeah. There is a wonderful acupuncturist in our group. Her name is Dr. Weena, acupuncturist for like 36 years. What she does is, when she finds those tender spots, and I'm going to share this with you because she finds those tender spots and she goes down to 6. And she tries to stay 20 seconds on those tender spots at a lower level. And she flushes out that inflammation. And guess what? She doesn't have that tidal wave effect that like a lot of other people report.
Oh,
So
that's
these
great.
are little
Okay.
things that I want to be able to share with you. Jamie,
Okay.
anything you've seen over the year and how you deal with that?
I had a guy like 70 years old, and we were doing both of his shoulders, and he was getting that really bad rebound effect where he said that the day we did it, he felt great. The next day he was in excruciating pain, but 2 days later he felt great. And so all we did was turn it down, and that that stopped that rebound effect from him having that super bad pain the second day. And so that just smoothed it out, and he loved it. And he's one of those people that actually came in for the Softwave and ended up doing both chiropractic and Softwave. But it was really that turning it down so he didn't get the big rebound the next day.
And
Okay,
sometimes
that's
what I'll do is
awesome.
I'll be like, yo, come back in. This doesn't count towards your care plan. I know you just paid in full. So let's just check it. And if we can't get in front of this, then maybe this isn't for you. I'm really
Great.
upfront with them.
Yeah.
I will tell you
Okay.
the one worst mistake, and I probably will stop recording because I don't want to record this part. Ready?